What's up, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Success Funnel Interviews. And today's guest is Michael Ross Maitland, and I'm very excited to have him on the show. A storyteller extraordinaire and a 2 Comma Club winner, and just a general all-round nice guy. So please welcome Michael Ross Maitland. And Michael, please share something that you believe online entrepreneurs should stop doing in order to grow their business to the next level.
Okay. Well, the answer to that is that they should stopping. And welcome. Thank you for letting me on to your live video, Guy Lynn. Excited to be here. But in answer to your question, what should online entrepreneurs stop doing? They need to stop stopping, basically, because what I see happening with many online entrepreneurs is they get some momentum and then they stop. And momentum is one of the, it's almost like a human need for entrepreneurs. Like once you've got momentum, like you're good, you feel okay with the world. But when you don't have momentum, it's like you have that depressive, that dark spirit. You feel like you're not making any progress. And we're going to talk a little bit more about that, I'm sure, in the rest of the episode. But momentum is like water for entrepreneurs. We need to keep it going. And how do you keep momentum going? You just do stuff. You do stuff. You don't think too much. You don't fear too much. You actually get on and do it.
Is that also, when you say do it, meaning the same thing consistently? So it's kind of like, avoiding I think stopping is also around avoiding the shiny object syndrome, and trying a little bit of this and a little bit of that. I know your story is something similar, where you have a little bit of a different view on, choosing a specific niche and going after it, meaning that you didn't necessarily choose your niche, but just consistently did something in it and eventually kind of had success.
That's right. Yeah, we had a chat before, didn't we, Guylan? So yeah, you know my story, because I didn't have a list of niches, and I didn't think, will I be an affiliate marketer, or will I sell online courses, or will I become an agency? How will I make money online? I didn't think about that at all, because I knew nothing about online marketing and I knew nothing about business. And so I just accepted that I knew nothing. So even if you have if you have a list of niches, you're only going to know a little bit about each one. And the problem is that people go a little bit and dabble a little bit, and they come back out like, oh, it wasn't working. So I just went full on into practicing business, and had been a teacher abroad, teaching English abroad. And I said to my boss, hey, I'll do some recruitment for you. I'll get some people from my university and I'll send them to Thailand to teach English. Just give me a couple of £100. And he was like, yeah, sure. Go ahead and do that. And so I managed to send 3 of my friends. So I got paid £600 for sending just 3 mates. And then 6 months passed. I sent another 3 people, 3 Australians that I'd never met before, never spoken to on the phone. I just emailed and sent their CVs on. I got £600 for that. And over a period of a couple of years, I just had a website. I'd started doing a little bit of classified ads, nothing serious. And I just wanted to practice business. I just got on with it. And as I did, the recession happened in 2008. And my advert said, Board of the UK, escape to Thailand and teach abroad. And I was looking at some of the emails today, actually, from 2008. And I even saw Board of the UK replies and stuff to my classified ad. And I had 90 applications, Guy Lynn. Wow. 90 applications. And guess how many spaces I had at that time? 10. I had 10. So at this point, I thought, oh, I might have something here. Can I go and get more clients in Thailand? Said to my wife, and she was like, you just want to go for a holiday. I was like, no. Look at these applications. 90 times £200 is $1 million. Ends up being 18,000 or something. But that was a lot of money, right? And it was £500 for the flight. So I was a poor student at the time. £500 was a sacrifice, but we did it. I went to Thailand for 8 days, got my suit and tie on, and I had an appointment in the morning, an appointment in the afternoon, and an appointment in the evening. I was trying to get clients so I could get these 90 people placed. And guess what happened? Nobody wanted any of them. They all thought I was a nice guy, but they're like, no, we don't need any of your guys. So I was like, oh, what have I done? I've wasted my money. What's my wife going to say when I get back to the UK? But I had one appointment in the south of Thailand in a place called Hat Yai. And I was flying in the morning and I was arriving back in the evening at 7 p.m. So I flew in there and the guy was like, oh, I'm not ready yet. Just wait in my office. So I waited in his office. A couple of hours passed. Called him again. He's like, oh, I'm at a school. There's a crisis. Just wait. I'll be there soon. 3 p.m. comes. Still not. He didn't come. Called him again. He said, just wait there. 5 p.m. comes and I got to leave at 5 to get my flight back to Bangkok because it's at 7. And I'm like, I called him. He's like, I'm going to be there. Just wait. So I was like, should I leave? Should I stay where I am? And I was so angry, by the way. Like, I was so freaking angry that he had let me stay in his office for 5 hours. I mean, I spoke to his Thai secretary for the first hour. Then I ran out of subjects, man. I was bored out of my nut. He let me sit there. And then at 5:21, I remember because he walked in and I looked at my watch. It was 5:21 p.m. He rocked in with his boss. And he took me upstairs and we sat there for a few minutes. I said, guys, I have to get my flight. And he was like, okay, don't worry. We'll take you in the car in a minute. But I just want to tell you that we don't want any of your guys. I was just like,
are you kidding?
What is going on? I was like, what a waste of time. But I was the politest person ever. And he said, but you can sell my training course, which is on a paradise island. You can add your bit on top. And I was like, whoa. This is like different from what I came here for. It's like, well, you get a guaranteed job with it. So they get trained and then they get a job. It's X amount of money and you can add your bit on top. So I was like, I don't know about this. But as I was flying back to the UK, I thought, well, teaching English as a foreign language, TEFL, in a paradise island, which is like heaven, TEFL heaven, that's a cool name. I'll just chuck up a website. So I chucked up a website, train on a beach and get a guaranteed job in Thailand, and it became a success. And so the main principle that I want to teach about that is that I didn't have a clue what I was doing, but I just went forward and just did it. Like, you just go forward and do it, and you learn things and things get uncovered. And that course became our flagship course. We ended up having more courses in other islands in Thailand. Then we expanded to more countries until we'd sent thousands of people to teach English abroad in over 14 different countries and hit 7 figures and got the 2 Comma Club award from ClickFunnels. And so that's basically the origin story. And how did I get there? I just put one foot forward and I just tested the market until something worked, and then I grabbed it.
Oh, that's such a cool story. It's just it basically answered the next question. Was that the 2 Comma Club idea, which it was? I think that also bases around the term JIT, where it's just in time, which is the learning that you did. You didn't know anything, but at that point you knew exactly what you needed to know next immediately to get it to the next level. And so you kind of grew it from there. So, well, that
100%, Guylan, 100%. Like, one of the things, and I still do this. So I know that many of your listeners will do this. We think we need to know more than we need to know before we take that step forward. We always think we need to know more. But actually, if we did more than we planned, we'd have more success. And we want to make it perfect. But imperfect action is how you build a business.
Is that not based also on the more you're learning, the more overwhelmed it is, the more knowledge you have, the less you do. So the imperfect action is actually the perfect strategy going forward.
100%,
so,
yeah.
Well, pretty much that just summed up the next question, which is, you're known for stories and how effective they are. And that was a story in itself. So is that something you were naturally good at, or was it a skill that you acquired during this process of growing TEFL Island or TEFL Paradise?
TEFL Heaven.
TEFL Heaven.
Don't worry. People called it TEFL Paradise before. I had a competitor come and name it TEFL Paradise. Name his one TEFL Paradise. So, yes, I've done storytelling all throughout. And what I would term the way that I do it is emotional authentic storytelling, because I never really thought to myself, I'm going to tell a story now. But in sales, when I was building my company, when I'd have like someone in front of me, I wanted them to have the vision of what it was that they were about to encounter. And the best way for me to do that would be for me to explain what I encountered as a teacher. And so that's what I did basically. And in the sales calls, whatever, I would help them understand how easy it is to be a teacher abroad, because they would always have these false beliefs, these objections that they're not going to be good enough. And I'm like, well, this is how you do it. And I tell a very short story of how you easily like lead the class, and how the penny drops for them, and you're having loads of fun, and it is a really fun job. And they'd get excited on the call, and so the call was just an emotional experience. I didn't even know that I was creating emotion. I mean, I guess I did, but it wasn't my main objective. It was just helping them see what it was that they're going to encounter, and then they'd buy afterwards. So I'd have this my sales funnel. You're only one funnel away. My sales funnel was the application funnel, so they needed to apply to come on my course, and so we would interview them, and if they passed the interview, we would allow them to pay. They wouldn't be allowed to pay before that. There's no way they could have paid before they had an interview with me or with one of my staff. And so when you actually get to the end of the call, you're like, okay, well, I've listened to all your questions, your answers to my questions, and I just want to give you this feedback. I like this part, and you explain, you restate to them. You're like, congratulations, you've been accepted to teach English in Mexico or in Peru. And then that moment, right afterwards, you're like, congratulations, you've been accepted. The look in their face, they're like, oh, I've been accepted. And like some people would jump up and down, they'd shout, like, oh, sorry for shouting. I'm like, no, shout all you want. Like, you're excited. And it's an exciting thing. Like, it's an amazing dream come true for them to go abroad and teach English abroad. We just made the sales process in such a way that, it was genuine as well, because we didn't want any crap teachers abroad. Like our name was represented. So we needed to make sure we refused people as well. Like we refused people that just weren't paying attention, didn't have good answers, or just didn't seem sincere. So, but we tried to pass people, obviously, because it's money in our pocket.
Yeah, for sure. So in terms of stories, is it more effective the more raw and unfiltered it is? Because generally, if you follow I'm generalizing now, but most of the stories are covering, the highlight reels, the stuff where it's only what they want people to see. Or do you find that stories where it's more raw and unfiltered are more, it penetrates the client more and kind of resonates with them a bit stronger?
So one of the principles of storytelling is contrast. You have to have contrast, and a lot of times, in order to create emotion, that contrast is your struggle. It's your struggle. And if your struggle relates to the struggle of your customer, then that's even better. But yeah, raw and unfiltered, I wouldn't say unfiltered, because there is definitely a filter, but sometimes that filter is that you made a mistake. Like sometimes that filter is that you didn't have a clue what you were doing. Like that was what I said in my story earlier. Like I really did not know what the heck I was doing half the time. And a lot of people try and make out that they know what they're doing when really they don't know what they're doing. And a lot of people, they think, oh, I was successful because of X, Y, and Z. No, you weren't. You didn't even know why you're successful. Like some people are successful, they don't even understand why. But then they try and teach it, right? Because there's a million things, and luck is involved as well. I was playing a board game the other day, and I was losing, and out came like this card that was just perfect for my competitor. And I was like, this game's luck. There's tons of luck in this game. And then she was like, no, there's loads of skill. I was like, yeah, there's obviously some skill, but a lot of it's luck, because look what you just got. And I mean, just being born in America is a massive piece of luck, isn't it? Because it's just a bigger economy, more people spend money, and a lot of that is never said. So yes, I do think that a lot of people like twist it so that it looks like that they're more successful and they know why they are. But I don't think anything's wrong with that. I think that they're still being genuine. But if you also share other insights that don't blow you up as the hero, then I think people resonate with that as well, if not more.
Okay, so that's basic. Excuse me. So that's basically advice for someone that's looking to leverage stories more in their current content. Is to try be as honest as possible, but also filter a way that helps you resonate more with that person you're trying to connect with.
So I'll give them a little framework for telling a story, right? So you do have so just to give them a quick framework, I have a framework called B to A via C. B to A via C. Okay, so normally it's A to B via C, right? But this is B to A via C. So B is before. Okay, what happened before? A is after. What happened after? And via C is what was the concept, the principle, or the framework that got you to the after or got you to the result. Okay, so you have to have contrast there. So what happened before? What was life like before? How did you feel? What were you struggling with? Before you had that breakthrough, then what was the concept that then created the breakthrough? What was the moment? What was the exact moment where you were like, this is what I need to do? And then what happened afterwards? What was the result? What was the transformation? What were your clients' results? Like, that's a very, very simple framework for storytelling. And if you express it emotionally, if you just go back there in your mind, rather than tell it by rote, you have to transport yourself back to those moments. And one of the problems that I have, because I teach authentic storytelling, so if I'm telling a story, it really did happen. Like, there's no lies in it in any way, shape, or form. And if it's emotional, I'll be there. Like, I'll go back there. And I've been writing a new welcome sequence, right? I've been writing a new welcome sequence for TEFL Heaven. And my very first email is about a heartbreak. It's my first heartbreak. Oh my word. Like, the whole week I've been suffering because I've been thinking about that moment. There was a moment where my heart was broken for the first time. And I didn't realize I had a heartbreak until I fell in love with another girl, because that was the first girl I've ever loved. When I fell in love with another girl, I realized, oh my word, I was in love with that girl. And I was like, and that's why I was suffering for so long, because I had heartbreak. But there was one moment where my heart broke, and I wrote about that moment, and I failed. I broke my own heart because I missed that opportunity. It was a sad moment where I did not do what I should have done. Things could have been different, and I missed it. And she just was disinterested, and that was it. And oh man, the whole week, last week, I was just like thinking about her. I even went like online. Hopefully, my wife's not looking at. Not going to see this. I even went online and like searched. She's not anywhere on the internet anymore. Not that I wanted to like contact her or anything, but just, I was thinking about her, and I spoke to somebody else. They're like, "Hey, you need to stop thinking about this." I was like, "Oh yeah, I do, man. Like, I've been married with 5 kids. That's old news. We're talking 20 years ago. Like, what am I even thinking about?" So I managed to get over it. But if you do this type of storytelling, you'll be there again. Like, you'll go back and you'll resurface. And if you're talking about a tragedy, like, you'll have to deal with that tragedy again. Like, a death in the family. Like, you need to be authentic. If you want others to feel emotion from your stories, you need to authentically share your emotion.
So this B to A via C framework is very similar to the obviously epiphany bridge story, where the problem most people are struggling with is that they're telling people the story from where they are currently, and the kind of the crucial point is you have to go back to that exact moment, because it's very difficult to tell something, as you said, if you're not in that moment reliving exactly I think it's more the emotions than anything else. So that's really cool. B to A via C. Remember that.
Let me just also share a little bit. So I have a client right now who I help. Well, I gave her some storytelling coaching, and she did a 5-day training and on the first day, she shared this emotional story. It was amazing, and I just looked at the comments coming in from the people that are watching our 5-day training, and they were like, "You're so amazing! Oh, that's so good!" And like so many people were touched by that story. And even I was like, "You delivered that perfectly. Like, you were there. I was there with you when you were crying on those steps, when you got rejected from that job, I was there with you. I could feel that. Fast forward a month, she did the same 5-day training, which I do teach, by the way, but this time she delivered it with no emotion. And there were no comments, and there was nothing. And I said afterwards, I was like, I was like, I was trying to say it nicely. I was like, okay, I'm not going to say anything. I'm just going to let you watch 2 minutes of this one and 2 minutes of this one. So I showed her both, and she was like, yeah, oh, I see. I'm like, yeah, you weren't there, were you? You weren't sitting on those steps. She's like, no, I wasn't. I wasn't there. I was like, you have to go there, I'm afraid. So,
yeah, that's pretty cool to get that comparison so quickly after each other. So it's and I guess it's only when people watch it from the outside, rewatch the video to realize where they went wrong. So the next question is, what do you think is the most important thing about becoming a master storyteller?
Emotion. Emotion is the how do you create emotion? And if you figure that out, then you will be a master storyteller, because that's the only reason you're telling the story, is for emotion. Now, when I say emotion, it could be fun. It could be that you're having it's a fun story. You still have your contrast, and you still have your result. So you're going through different emotions, right? Or it could be a tragedy where you're sharing how you felt, and it's maybe sad. Or it could be frustration, or it could be anger, or anger kind of turned into tenacity, because you don't want to get angry in your story, right? But you're like, no, I was determined to do this. And how you invoke emotion is the ultimate key to marketing as well. Like, people make buying decisions when they're emotional. And if you can put that at the height of your storytelling and learn how to tell stories emotionally, and even if you're writing stories, like even if you're not expressing it, because you feel a lot more emotion on video. Like, people will generally feel more emotion on video, but you might not be able to hook them as much on a video, because maybe it's on mute, or maybe like the headline's not good enough. But on a email or on a post, like, you might be able to hook them more with the image or with the headline or whatever. And then you need to learn how to tell emotion in writing as well. It's very similar, but a bit different. You need to be more expressive, whereas there's no body language in writing, right?
Yeah.
But there is body language and tonality in delivering stories vocally or on video. So emotion, Gavin, emotion.
Do you use a combination then of written, video, all that to kind of see which one resonates best with the audience you're reaching?
So I have to do it. I have to have some notes. Like, I can't just tell us. I can tell a story if I know this. If I've told the story over and over again, I don't need any notes. But I need some notes to be able to tell the story, because, like, you're not just telling a story. Like, when you said, do you just share a story unfiltered? You there is a filter, and it's called a template. Like,
Yeah.
there are filters, and they're called frameworks. Like, there is a universal story framework. It's called the Hero's Two Journeys, right? If you learn the Hero's Two Journeys, then you'll be able to tell powerful stories, and that's what all the movies use as well. All the movies use the Hero's Two Journeys. Any good movie actually tells the Hero's Two Journeys. Any bad movie, you can bet that they haven't used the Hero's Two Journeys. Remind me of the freaking question again. I forgot the question.
No, it is. It's basically around the what frameworks you're using around. Also, if it's video or if it's written content.
Right, video, yeah. So yeah, there is a difference. But every story should be as powerful, whether it's written or whether it's on video. But stories are more powerful on video, because are more attracted to the emotion. But you can still create emotion in flipping written stories. I mean, people read books and cry all the time. So I don't know if I can. I don't know if I can really say that. Like I know, I probably don't know, but I prefer video because I'm better at that. But I can do written. I can do written as well. But I talk a lot, and you only have a certain amount of space. I end up deleting a lot. I delete a lot when I write it out. So I'm like, that, don't need that, don't need that. Yeah, I have to write the story. It's massive, and I'll go back and I'll be right. I was waffling there. Whereas if you're waffling on video, you can't delete it. So
and it's quicker.
Yeah.
So
yeah, it's quick.
Well, coming along to more around the funnels and what's currently working for you in your business. I know you mentioned earlier that the successful funnel for you was an application funnel. Is that still something that's the driving force behind your business, or what other funnels are you currently implementing?
You know, that still drives TEFL Heaven. But we are building a much better funnel right now for TEFL Heaven. And my plan, so here I am at the start of my storytelling sales skills career. And so I'm going to be doing a YouTube podcast very, very soon called the Storytelling and Attractive Character Podcast. And so my goal, here's my funnel for my future funnel. So I've bought like over $100,000 worth of courses from Russell Brunson, Steve Larson, like Andrew Cruzy, Tana Chittister. Like I bought all the freaking courses, man. Dan Henry, just everyone in the ClickFunnels world and connected to ClickFunnels. Sometimes some people out of it. And so the main framework that I'm following is Russell Brunson and Steve Larson's framework, which is publishing. And of course, because I'm teaching storytelling, I need to practice my storytelling, and I need to encourage people to practice and find their voice. So here's my funnel. Build my my list with a podcast. So I'll be publishing the podcast on a regular basis, probably 2 or 3 episodes a week. Then I'll be going into Facebook groups, and I'll be helping people as much as possible, sharing my expertise. Then they'll look at my profile. There'll be a PDF lead magnet on my profile called Why You're Getting Low Conversions. And in there, it'll talk about traffic temperature, attractive character, storytelling, share my expertise. And then once they're on my list, and I've been building that for a while, maybe till I've got like 400, 500 on my list, I'll then launch a webinar and my storytelling sales skills course. And every week I'll do a webinar. And then after that, I'll start going into paid ads. So that is my structure for my new funnel, if you want to know what I'm about to do. And then once that's working for that, I'm then going to swap and do the same thing for my existing company, because I fully believe that content is the way forward, and good content is the way forward. And so that's what I'm planning on doing. And I'm really excited about it because I'm using all my skills and building it.
Yeah.
And I'm doing the same thing as I did before. I'm like, well, I don't really know everything, but like I built the other one without knowing much. So I'm just going to go forward and ram ahead and just start teaching and sharing and explaining, and I'll see how it goes.
Yeah, love the concept of just starting and figuring it out on the way. So, okay, so is that where, obviously summing up, is that where people can get hold of you in the next coming weeks, is through the podcast?
Yes, that's right. So in about 2 weeks' time, I will have launched, and if they go to rebrand.ly/storypod, storypod is so rebrand.ly/storypod. That's the page from a podcast, but there's nothing there right now. You will see the artwork though. You'll see the artwork for the podcast. But in a couple of weeks, there'll be 4 episodes there. First 4 episodes are going to be how to become a master marketer and storyteller. So
cool. Well, thank you for your time. And for those who want to kind of follow along the podcast, we'll drop the links below. And thank you, Michael, for your time. We really appreciate it. And we'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye.
Thanks, Kylan. Cheers.